Hello and welcome, I'm Jake, and today I'm going to walk you through the step-by-step process of setting up and wiring your ELITE SpeedLane system. Before beginning installation, make sure you have the proper equipment and support in place. First, a two-person team is required. The SpeedLane gates are heavy and must be carefully lifted, tilted, and positioned during installation. Second, wear protective gloves to improve grip and help protect both the installers and the finish of the gates. Third, have wheeled end dollies or moving blankets available. These will be used to support and protect the gates while routing cables. Lastly, if you plan to run cables along the floor, have a floor cable channel or wire cover ready. Once you have your necessary items, the next step is preparing your SpeedLane gates for installation. Before any wiring begins, there are three key factors to consider: positioning the gates, determining how power will be supplied, and planning how the interconnecting cables will be routed between gates. Start by positioning the SpeedLane gates in or very near their final installation location. Once the tethering cables and internal wiring are connected, the assembly becomes difficult to move later. Many facilities also choose to anchor the gates to the floor using the mounting holes inside the base of each gate. This can be done during positioning or after the system is fully assembled. Next, you must determine how power will be supplied to the system. This should be planned in advance based on your facility requirements and coordinated with a qualified electrician or facilities team. In some cases, power may be supplied using a nearby outlet, while more permanent installations require power to be run directly into the gates. In either case, power should not be turned on until all wiring connections for the SpeedLane system have been fully completed. Finally, plan how the interconnecting cables will be routed between the gates. Common methods include underfloor routing, overhead conduit, or running cables through the bottom openings of each gate. For simplicity and clarity, this video will demonstrate the floor routing method. There are two common ways to wire your SpeedLane gates together. The first method is to start at the parent gate, route the cables down through the bottom opening, run them across to the next gate, and then feed them back up into the second gate. This approach may work well for installations using a raised access floor or overhead conduit where cable routing is pre-planned through the facility. In this video, we will demonstrate a simpler approach for floor routed installations where the cables are brought to the center, between the gates, fed through the openings, and then routed up into each gate for connection. Start by opening the lid of the gate and removing the two RJ45 communications cables and one 2-conductor power cable along with the keys and hardware. Next, use the keys to remove the side panels and set them aside along with the footplate, which is packaged inside the second gate. Once everything has been removed, prepare the gates for wiring by gaining access to the underside. This can be done by elevating the gates using wheeled dollies or by carefully laying them on their sides using moving blankets. With access underneath, bring all three cables to the center between the gates and fully uncoil them, arranging them together so they can be routed cleanly into both sides. Starting at the parent gate, gather the cable ends and slide the protective grommet over the three connectors. Then feed the connectors into the bottom opening and pull them through from underneath the gate. Once the cables are through, snap the grommet firmly into place. From there, continue pulling the cables and route them through the interior of the gate towards the main control board. On the edge of the board, you will see the ports labeled RJ45-1, RJ45-2, and M2. Simply match each cable to its corresponding labeled port and connect them securely. Be sure to press each connector firmly into place until it's fully seated and clicks. It is critical that each cable is properly connected to the correct port. Now you'll repeat the same process on the daughter gate. Feed the cables through the bottom opening and snap the grommet into place. Then route the cables up through the interior and connect them to their corresponding ports. Once connected, Pull any remaining cable slack into the gate and neatly bundle and store it inside the housing. If the gates were elevated using dollies, carefully lower them back down so they're properly resting on the floor. When both gates are connected and positioned, install a cable cover over the exposed wiring between the gates to protect the cables and provide a clean, finished installation. The final connection in the SpeedLane system is the ESD footplate, which will be positioned directly in front of the parent gate. Inside the parent gate, locate the RJ45 cable designated for the footplate. Route this cable down through the interior of the gate towards the front of the unit. At the base, feed the cable through the opening, then slide the protective grommet over the connector and press it in place. From there, route the cable to the back of the footplate and connect it to the port on the underside of the unit. In addition to this connection, the footplate includes a grounding cable with a banana plug. Connect the banana plug into the grounding jack on the back of the footplate, then route the cable back through the same opening. Inside the gate, this grounding wire must be connected to a proper facility ground. Do not connect it to the gate chassis itself. A suitable grounding point can be provided by the electrician installing the system power, or by using a designated grounding connection on the internal power strip. This connection is required for accurate ESD testing. Once both connections are complete, position the footplate securely in front of the parent gate so it is properly aligned for use. With all wiring connections now complete, the final step is to power on the SpeedLane system. Before applying power, locate the voltage switch inside the parent gate and make sure it is set correctly for your facility's incoming power, either 110 or 220 volts. To adjust the setting, slide the selector switch on the transformer to the correct position. Once this is confirmed, turn on the internal power switch inside the gate. The SpeedLane system will then power on and begin its initialization sequence. After the system is powered on, reinstall the side panels and secure them with the provided keys, then close and lock the top of the lids of the gates. That completes the wiring and installation process of your ELITE SpeedLane system. Once powered on and secured, your SpeedLane is ready to begin verifying personnel before entering your ESD protected area. If you have any questions during installation, configuration, or operation, our team at Botron is always here to help. Thank you for watching, and thank you for choosing Botron.